Hello, my sweet friends. Welcome to the Arc Cake Coach podcast. My name is Cristina Revalo. I'm a sugar paste modeling artist, a teacher, a coach for cake artists, Cake Friends Day creative community manager, award winning cake decorator, and representative of international cake competitions. I'm so happy to have you here. If you are a cake artist, a cake enthusiast, or a baker who is seeking some help, in anything related to your time management, social media management, setting your goals for yourself or your business, your mindset towards your business, or even a few hints of how to be part of the international cake community, cake collaboration, and cake competitions, you are in the right place. So, welcome to today's episode. Hello, my sweet friends, and welcome to another episode of the Cake Coach podcast. I'm so happy to say that today is the first episode in which I am including a guest. We have an interview today, our first interview here in the show, and I'm so happy and so proud to say that it is an amazing interview, and I think it's going to be very useful for all of you. Today, I have with you my sweet friend Karen MacFadyen. I hope I'm saying correctly her name. She's not only an award winning cake artist like many of us, but she has an amazing program for the business part of the cake world of the cake decoration. She is focusing on helping cake decorators to organize their business, price correctly, marketing their products, and has two very good programs that we will be talking about today here in the episode called the Cake Circle and the Cupcake Party. So I cannot wait for you to listen to this episode. I really hope that you take a lot of positive and useful tips out of this episode. And without any further ado, here with us is Karen. Well, hello, Karen. How are you today? So happy to have you here.
Hi, Christina. It's lovely to be here too.
Okay, you're our first guest, my first guest in the Arcade Coach podcast. I'm so happy.
Brilliant. Thank you
Great.
for inviting me.
Now it's my pleasure to have you here because like I have said before in other episodes, and the previous episodes that I talked about the struggles and everything our business have, how our business have changed and suffer after the pandemic, and the business part of the cake business that is so important. And I don't know if people pay enough attention to that part, creating a business plan, pricing correctly. It's not my thing. So that's why I invited Karen today, because she is a cake coach for business, for our business, our cake businesses, and she has so much knowledge about setting your a correct business plan, and pricing correctly, promoting your work, the marketing part. So I just want to give the community a little bit of that I'm not able to give, so but I know that you are. So Karen, tell us a little bit, first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get to be a business coach for cake artists?
Well, I think like a lot of people that started with sugarcraft and the passion of sugarcraft, probably it all happens when you have children and you get to the first birthday and you go off to the shop and you go, oh, well, I'm sure I could make that. But I'm artistic. It was one of my favourite things at school, amongst all the other artistic things, and nothing to do with science, biology, or anything like that. So yeah, I was in a girls' grammar school, and it was very frowned upon to be artistic, musical, and a sewing person. So, but anyway, fast forward to when I was married and with a 1 year old, I started making cakes, but basically for her. And of course, then the family starts asking. It's the same journey that probably every cake decorator that's listening to this has.
I'm
They
laughing
start,
right now because I can see myself in your
yeah.
story. Yeah.
The sister starts asking, and then the mum starts asking, and then can you make Nana and Granddad's the 50th wedding anniversary cake, and then people from their church, or then suddenly it grows outwards. And then one day, one fine day, somebody that you don't even know, that isn't part of your scene at all, says, could you make me one of those, and how much is it? And it's like, really? Oh, goodness me, I've got to start pricing it. And well, my background, if I went backwards, and alongside doing this hobby of sugarcraft, I was working for an interior designer in London, um, an international interior designer, and I was there. I started off as a director secretary, and then sort of progressed on. They realised they could teach me to do bookkeeping and accounts management, and I became the office manager. So I was already really au fait with nagging designers for timesheets, right?
Okay.
Because at one point, one of the businesses we had about 14 designers, so we had to price up the contracts with all these different people working on it. And when it came to cake decorating, of course, I already had implanted in my head how you take somebody's time and put it over a contract. All right, we didn't, on a cake, you only have one person working on it, not 14 designers, but it was exactly the same principle of
Yeah.
like, how long are things going to take you? So when I started charging for my cakes, because then it was a bit like a tsunami of orders then, because once people realized that you were good at thing, and I used to play squash quite a lot, and I was the mad cake lady at our squash club, so everybody would come and say, oh, can you make me a pint of Guinness cake, or can you make me a man on a squash court with a broken racket looking a bit drunk, or
That's a,
all sorts of really weird novelty. That was my favorite thing to do, novelty cakes. And people kind of knew how much they were roughly, so I never had anybody going, how much, that's ridiculous, because they were all in the kind of same world as me. But what I realized then, when I started talking to the cake decorating community, that I knew this stuff just because that was my daytime thing that I had to put together in order to help the interior designers,
yeah.
and I was just doing it naturally. And it's like, what do you mean you don't write down? Even if you get a secretarial shorthand notebook, with the spiral at the top of it, and write down every quarter of an hour that you're doing anything on this cake, even if it's thinking about it while you're having a shower, you're still designing it in your head.
Exactly.
And one lady said to me, "Oh, what do you mean you put the clearing up of the kitchen down on your timesheet?" It's like, well, yes, because you wouldn't be clearing the kitchen up if you hadn't made it dirty in the first place. So there's a lot of elements in the terms of timesheets or writing things down, and some people might go, oh, I can't be bothered with all that. It's way too much admin, and isn't that just a complete faff? Well, not really. If you've got a pencil and a shorthand notebook
That,
on the
that's
side, it's like I've just spent a quarter of an hour online trying to buy stuff. You know,
yeah.
it should go on the timesheet, because that's what I was always nagging the interior designers to do. So I just did it naturally myself.
Yeah.
So of course, then once you start realizing how many hours that you've done for a particular design, and I actually found that a pattern started forming depending on, was it a really big cut and carved cake? Did they want it in the shape of a house, or did they want it in the shape of a squash shoe, or was it just a plain, square cake? And of course, in those days, we didn't have these stacking them on top of each other until they're about 12 inches tall. They just had one.
These new type cakes, yes, we do.
The tall cakes. We didn't have tall cakes when I was doing it. Um, but we you could basically get a pattern of how long things would take to do. And if you'd already worked out in your head, I would like to earn X per hour for my time, it was so much easier to like stick that price on to the costs of the ingredients. Now, I know a lot of people struggle with the cost of ingredients,
Hmm.
um, again, because of my background in bookkeeping and helping interior designers who hated admin. Of course, I got good at doing spreadsheets and stuff. So I did make a spreadsheet called the Cake Calculator, which is sold into about 54 different countries across the world. Basically takes your shopping that you go to your local supermarket or grocery store on the left hand side, you put your recipe on the right hand side, and provided that the weight of the packet matches with your recipe, that's when it gets a bit weird for maybe the USA market when you've got cups, because you don't buy a bag of sugar is it probably in ounces, not in cups. So we have to
Yeah.
do a little bit of fiddling about if the two things don't actually match. But if they match, UK, you can buy it in grams and the recipes in grams. Magic. That's really easy
And you
to
have everything done. Yes.
everything done. But there's just a little bit of working out if the two things don't match. But in the main, I've had multiple of thousands of people have been very happy with the cake calculator,
That is
because they can then save it, name it something like grandma's cake or whatever, and then use another sheet to do another cake, and they've always got that recipe. And now I just noticed this morning, because I stalk a lot of cake decorators on social media, somebody was saying about the price of butter in the UK,
yeah.
that has gone up from, I forget what it was, it's gone up about £2 for 500 grams
Yeah.
in the last 4 weeks. Now, if you'd already saved your cake calculator with grandma's cake and you've got another order for grandma's cake, you can just go in and change the price of the product that you're buying, and all the rest of
I
the
need to
recipe.
recalculate everything.
Yeah, because it's all in there. All you've got to do is put the cost that has changed over on the left hand side of the shopping, and everything else would change. So that just really makes it simple.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Karen, you have given me so much, right? This is so great because I mean I've been writing down the things that you've been talking about, especially first of all the use of your background and this what we call now the soft skills or the of the hard skills that we had maybe in another job, and how can you apply that into this business? That's brilliant, and a lot of people don't use it because they believe it's like, okay, I used to be, I don't know, I used to be an accountant or I used to be a lawyer and now I'm doing cake, so I'm not gonna, it doesn't have
Yeah,
anything to do. There's a lot of things that you can transport into your business knowledge that can
yeah,
help that business grow. That is awesome. Then you said something that for me is like, yes, and nobody thinks about that. Prize your time, people. It's like, yeah.
yeah,
That's one of the things that I always did because I come from the teaching background where I charge by hour of teaching. So if I
mm,
charge my hour of teaching, I have to charge the hour that I've been working on the kitchen.
mm,
For me was logical, but there's a lot of people who don't. They just base their prices on ingredients, and then they realize in the middle of the I don't know, maybe 2 years in the business, like, I cannot keep up with these prices. Of course, because you're not pricing yourself. You're not earning any money
yeah,
because you're only pricing to pay whatever you're buying on the supermarket.
yeah,
um, the creating a pattern for your
yeah,
kids is, I mean, I always say it, even with the calendars for social media or for time management, it takes time at the beginning because you have to organize all of this, but once it's there, it comes, I mean, it's like a
yeah,
wheel that never stops. It's right there. um,
yeah,
and it's great that you show people that just because you're an artist, you don't have to live off air. It's like you're an artist because a cake artist is an artist. Like you used to work
yeah,
with designers, right? If you're an artist, you deserve to have a
yeah,
return for what you do, and it not just paying for materials,
yeah.
not just that. So that is awesome.
I
There's a
mean, in the art world, there's a lot of feeling that, I'm going to be a starving artist, etc., etc. It just shouldn't happen
yeah.
in the cake world. And a lot of the cake decorators will get intimidated because
Mhm.
they don't have negotiation skills. So one of my biggest rants is, um, when I'm stalking the girls on all the Facebook groups, is seeing them saying, "Oh, I sent the price to this customer and I've been ghosted. I never heard anything back ever." And it's like, but they've sent the price by messenger.
Yeah.
So it's my favourite rants, right? If you ever see me on social media, because when one time I did a quiz on my personal profile on Facebook, And I said to a complete wide selection of age group, so it wasn't, oh, well, they were 25, that's why they responded that way, or whatever. It was a complete across the board. If you were ordering a custom cake, how would you like your cake designer to communicate with you? Would you like to communicate by message, or would you like a telephone call? Right? So it wasn't a trick question. 100% all said telephone call.
Yeah.
Now I see, and because okay, that was a while ago, and because people are so used to WhatsApp messaging people and messaging people on Facebook Messenger and all the rest of it, there's no communication with your customer. Now, if you're trying to sell a bespoke, beautiful cake with the freshest ingredients from the market and all the rest of it, if you can't have a conversation with your purchaser, and it's a lot of money, it's not just one of your, I'll have a pink one and it's on your website, and can I have one like that? If it's off a website and it's exactly as the picture, you're just changing the name or the topper or something like that. If it's a really big bespoke cake, trying to sell it by a message and saying, oh, it's going to be £147 or dollars or euros or whatever, is a really difficult thing, because you haven't had a conversation to tell them, number one, you haven't found out all their wants and desires, particularly because it's quite difficult to get that into a text format, because you need to have a conversation. You need to get your customer to know, like, and trust you. And
Hmm.
how are you going to do that? Through a
Yeah.
message, because they don't know you. And that's why they might have just gone, oh, do you know what? I'm going to go off and find a cake decorator who will talk to me
Oh,
or
yeah.
who will explain properly. And what happens is the girls go, oh, I've been ghosted. It was because of the price. That's that's a natural assumption. They have left me in the lurch. They haven't responded to me ever again. I'm messaging, they're just ignoring me. It was the price that put them off. I'm going to challenge that and say, what if it wasn't the price? What if it was your customer service that you didn't have because you thought it was okay just to ping them a price? I mean, if you think about it personally, if you were going off and buying, I don't know, let's think about a chair, right? And you go to a London showroom and you want to buy a chair, and it's maybe it costs £200, euros, dollars, whatever, right? And you go into this showroom and it's like, pick your own, right? There's not a show person in sight. There's nobody to ask. You want to ask about the colours. You want to ask about, oh, can I have it more springy than this one? Or is there a cushion to go with it? Or has it got casters on it? Or whatever. Nobody there to talk to. But they want you to buy it at the door, a bit like IKEA. You walk out,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I totally
you take it off the shelf. But next door has got somewhere exactly the same, but it's got an attentive shop person that is willing to have a conversation with you and tell you about your lovely purchase and all the rest of it. If all things being equal, if both prices were exactly the same in both shops, which shop would you prefer to go into?
We'll definitely go where people is nice to you. Definitely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, pinging a thing saying, "Oh, your cake's going to be £87," and then being upset that the person has disappeared off the face of the earth
Yeah.
when
It's
when you never heard anything again. Had you have explained that they were going to get a delicious, and you can really be, the artists are artists, for goodness sake. Surely we can make a sentence or a paragraph of an amazing description of an
what
amazing
difference
thing.
does that make? Because that you
Exactly.
involve the client in the making of the cake, in what's involved, your time, your ingredients, your
Exactly.
creativity, and the client feels like I matter because this person
Exactly.
is taking the time to do all of that for me. So
Exactly.
it's not just a cake, it's an experience. I always say that in the groups as well. You're not just selling a cake, you're selling an experience, feelings. People's going to be happy
Yeah.
eating that cake. They're going to celebrate around that cake. They're going to remember that cake. All of that should be involved in your marketing and in your negotiation skills, right?
Yeah. And
Now,
all
a question for you,
yeah.
because I have heard this a lot from other cake artists that they feel, I'm sorry if I'm coughing a little bit, that they feel that if they don't have a written proof of their communication with the client in case something goes wrong. uh, uh, they don't have any proof that the client said this or that, so that's why they prefer messaging. What would you recommend in this case? To have both conversation and messaging, or maybe an email because sounds more personal, more I don't know. You can keep track, but it's something that is to you. It's not, a messenger or a
Yeah,
message
yeah, yeah.
messenger or WhatsApp. What would you recommend?
Okay, so my feelings about having a whole string of messenger things, and people saying, "Oh, the reason I do it like this is I've got this whole string." That's fine. One of my members,
Mhm.
students, had her Facebook shut down. Now, if you haven't copied out verbatim what your customer has said to you, and Facebook throw an absolute hissy fit and decide that your face doesn't fit their platform that particular week, all of your orders that you thought were all safe and sound in Messenger have now gone poof up in smoke, and you haven't got any record, right? So whilst yes, I do get why it's a good idea to have, a record of all these conversations on email, but I find email completely impersonal, and emails can still go adrift as well. Having a final conversation to actually okay and I know why the girls do it is because they don't actually want to say the price out, because it's like it's really squirmy, and it's like, well, I've enjoyed doing it. Oh, I'm going to enjoy doing it. I don't really want to charge for it. Oh, they're going to accuse me of being too expensive or whatever. I'll just put it in an email. I'll put it in a WhatsApp. I'll put it in a Facebook Messenger message, and therefore I don't have the confrontation. I know exactly what
Yeah,
goes on.
yeah, been I know, been there. That's true.
So it's like, take the easy way out and just email it. Now, okay, if it's in email, yes, you've got more of a thread that you can go back on and go, oh, what color did the lady say? Or what was the? Oh, she said it was chocolate, not vanilla. Oh my goodness me, I've just baked the wrong cake, right?
Yeah.
So my solution to that very early on was to create an order pad, which people fill out. They put every single detail about the whole of the party, including the date, making it really clear that of the date, because I've seen people bake cakes for the wrong week or the wrong year, even, right?
Oh my God.
So, so they can put exact, or even I've seen people trying to deliver wedding cakes to the wrong borough or the wrong county here. They were going to a hotel. They had the whatever hotel in that county, but actually it was 70 miles away in a completely different county because
Oh
I hadn't written down the
my God.
postcode. So if you have an order pad that you fill in with all of the details, including the postcode, including who's going to accept the cake, if what the price is, the day it's going to be due for payment, if you're taking a split payment, what the message is, what the color of the icing is going to be, what any allergies, it's everything literally, and get the customer a sheet of paper that has got their order on it. That then means that if your email breaks, the day that you need to look at your all of your emails, your computer goes kaput, poof, right?
You will
You know,
have backup.
you've got a cake due in 2 days' time, but all of the details are now on your broken computer. It's like, no,
Yeah.
I'm a pen and paper gal. I know that's old fashioned, but
Me too. I mean, I do take advantage of technology, but I always have a
a backup plan.
always, yeah.
Yeah, because if somebody says to me, "Why haven't you embraced um, an online calendar?" Well, I haven't, because I'm a pen and paper person. Number one, number two, it freaks me out completely. Is like, okay, imagine putting my whole life, 365 days worth of whatever on this online thing, and then suddenly that app breaking, and everything has gone. It's like,
Yeah.
no, I can't trust that.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. I'm a little bit like that too. Sometimes I blame it, and I'm a little bit control freak. I need
Yeah,
to have
exactly.
everything in hand and access to everything. But yeah, at least have a backup. Don't. Yesterday in the social media class, we talk about that. Even on social media, a lot of people relate their pictures and their work only to be posted on social
Yeah,
media. Have a backup always, because you never
yeah,
know what could happen. And that
yeah,
story with the Facebook, I mean, it happens with Facebook, with Instagram, with WhatsApp. You never know what could happen. Your account can be hacked, the
yeah.
platform goes down, and you miss all the information that you.
The thing is with the thread of going back over maybe 10 different messages. Number one, I'm very much time equals money person, right? So
Hmm.
to keep having conversations backwards and forwards with a particular customer, and you might have five different customers that you've got these threads going on with, right? Let's look at the time it takes to keep switching your context switching. So if you're getting on with something, you've got a is it Pomodoro app going on so that you're like, I'm going to focus 20 minutes worth of work and just crack on with it. If your phone's constantly going off with a customer A saying, "Oh, actually, I might have this on it," so you reply to that one, and then suddenly you get try and get back to your work again, and now customer C writes and says something else. If you've just taken the time to have a consultation with that person and right, this is the agreement,
That's important. Yeah.
end of your time, all those little niblets of time that you're taking to switch your mind round to their order, are you writing those down and saying, "Oh, this is taking me longer and longer and longer because of that time that it's taking"? And the other thing is, if somebody went into a bricks and mortar shop to order a celebration cake, they wouldn't expect that same person. Oh, they'd probably pop in tomorrow about 3:30 with another thought about their cake.
Yeah.
Oh, and they'd probably come in Friday as well because they just thought about another tweak though. Oh, maybe they pop in Saturday. Oh, we'll just keep getting the order book out the shelf and we'll keep writing, we'll cross bits out and oh, the customer's sort of this, we'll do. It's like, no, they're a professional business. They'd say, I'm sorry, madam, you're having a laugh.
Exactly.
Just
We'll have the customer walking in once and talking about the cake,
exactly.
getting anything
End
written up.
of red line under it. This is the price. Thank you very much. And I'll probably bet your bottom dollar that they would charge 100% upfront. Boof, that's it. No questions asked. There wouldn't be any sort of squirrely, oh, perhaps you'd like to pay me the balance when you pick it up if you like it and all that sort of thing. It's like,
Yeah.
no, here's the price list. It's £120 for your christening, whatever, you pay it.
Yeah. It's true. It's true. Karen, other great tips you have given us today. If I recap to the beginning of your conversation, when you mentioned the pricing, the time, and you mentioned the earning per hour, which is important. But as important as that, what you talked about, building that rapport with your customer, and
Yeah.
negotiate, building that customer service. And
Mm.
a lot of people forget about that in our business, and they just, I have another cake, is another client, deliver the cake, forget about it. And
Yeah.
that customer service is key for people to come back, because if
Mm.
you're having a business, especially like I mentioned in the previous episode when we talk about going back to business after the pandemic, you have to like pick up where you left 2 years ago. And maybe you had customers that 2 years ago were regular customers, but in 2 years they never had a party again, and now they're starting to
Mm.
have a party again, parties again, and celebrating again. Make them know that you're here for them. Remind them of the cakes that you made for them. If they need anything, you're here. Talk to your customer. Create that relationship is so important. So thank you for sharing that. I have so many questions, but I know, and that's where I wanted to go to today, for the community as well, for our community here, is that Karen, it being a cake coach and business coach for cake artists, has something called the Cake Circle, right, Karen? So tell me a
Absolutely.
little bit about the Cake Circle, because this and much more information related to your cake business can be found in there. I'll be leaving the links here in the description of the episode on how to access the Cake Circle. But I want Karen to tell us about this today, and about something that is coming up as well, right? In the end of
Yeah.
July, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is also a very fun idea that Karen has, but I'm going to leave her to talk about that. So go ahead,
Um,
Karen.
Okay, so with the Cake Circle, which has been launched, I guess, 15 months now, my idea was that the cake decorators all needed a little bit more support and encouragement and hand holding and guidance with their businesses, because at the end of the day we may or may not have gone off to cake classes and gone and got a certificate, or we might be self-taught, whichever, but there's not very many cake classes that actually touch on anything to do with building this as a business, which is weird because invariably if you get really good at cake decorating, people start asking can they pay you, and now you might have this inadvertent business which you never thought you were going to have in the first place. So it's like, what can I do to support the girls that have suddenly sort of been put into this situation and they don't know how to price, they don't know how to find customers, they don't know how to have that negotiation that we were just talking about, and they don't really know about all the beginnings of what you need in place. So that was the sort of basis of the Cake Circle. um, and we put into the Cake Circle my Cash for Cakes course, which is actually available on my website, but we put that in as a bonus for any of our members that come in. But every month we have a guest speaker, so we've covered so many topics, and it's a favourite part of our students or members month, because it's things that they would never have found out about unless they'd heard the expert in the Cake Circle. So we've had things like branding, we've had marketing, we've had Instagram, we've had a lady who helped. She did the legal side of the baking side of it, so she was helping with that. We've had every single month we had a expert from the business world as well, and I'm quite into a little bit woo woo stuff, like creative visualization, and because
Love
that's
you.
yeah, that's all worked for me. So I'm very much, if you think positive things happen, etc., etc. So we had a little bit of that woven in as well. We've had craft experts coming in and doing different designs and techniques as well. Once a month we have a business session for me, and we have a group coaching session, plus the support in the community. And the girls that have joined, they're all still there. so, so
That's
they
a
all,
good sign. That's a good sign.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So we've got a thing called the success pathway, which we sort of mapped out. If you were right at the beginning of your journey, whereabouts would you be on this grid? And we can work out, what actions you need to take next in order to move forward with your business. But there's all sorts of elements of your business that you don't learn at cake decorating school, or you don't learn from YouTube videos about methods of making beautiful cakes. It's the complete other side, called running a business, called a cake business or a home bakery.
And it's great that you mention it because um sometimes you feel like to be up to date in the business, in the cake world, the cake decorating world, you have to know the latest technique, you have to know, the last YouTube video technique or the last course that somebody's teaching, you have to take it. But nobody tells you, or you don't I mean, maybe you're so busy, or this our cake artists, their cake friends are so busy thinking about these new techniques that nobody thought like, okay, but I have to price for that technique. I have to attend my
Yeah,
customers, or the legal part is like allergies, all of that,
yeah,
the
yeah,
disclaimers that you should have on your pages or on your customers whenever if they sign a contract, all of that
yeah,
that nobody tells us. And sometimes people find the hard way, right? When they have a
yeah,
problem or when they are
yeah.
not earning enough money. And that is so, so important. It's as important as learning the newest technique, right?
Yeah, I've got a lady who runs a cafe. She was a home baker, and she branched out about 20 years ago, and then because she ended up with so many cake tins in her spare bedroom, she, this is ridiculous, we just got to get a premises, and she ended up opening a bakery. And I interviewed her recently as one of my experts, and she says, honestly, Karen, if I had had the information that you are giving out now 20 years ago, it would have saved me so much time and so much waste of money going down the wrong route, just trying different random things. And the girls that are at the top end of their game, just they want to recommend that people just get some more information in their business so that they can actually really expand their business, expand their knowledge. And it's not only about running a business, it's about expanding yourself as well and becoming bigger, better as a person and
Yeah.
braver and more confident, and that all that sort of thing is all woven into the cake circle because that's my thing,
That's
confidence.
beautiful. That's beautiful. It's really nice because it's so connected. That mindset with our
Mm,
personal life, with our business life and our work, everything is connected. And I think it all comes to a question that none of us, I guess, us people who has been here for a long time and pretends to be here for a long time, uh, at some point we ask ourselves that question: is are you here for the long run? How far do you want to get?
yeah,
And when
yeah,
people start their business in they start baking cakes, like you mentioned at the beginning, I was laughing because it was my story as well. You had kids and you want to make the cake. It's like, well, I can make this, and then a family member, and then a friend, and then somebody asks you how much you charge for this. It was pretty much the same. At that point, you never ask yourself, "Am I here for the long run? Am I here
yeah,
for a long time? What am I going to do with this?" And it all comes down to that question. Ask yourself that question, answer that question, and then if you say yes, this is what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my working life.
yeah,
Okay, so business comes in handy. You know, knowledge about the law, about making a business plan, about promoting your product, about customer service, all of that you mentioned in the cake circle. So for the listeners of this episode, I really recommend you that you go and check it out because there's a lot of information there that it goes beyond cake decorating technique, and it will help you being here for the long run if that's what you want. I will be leaving the links here for the cake circle, and in both platforms, in Anchor and in Spotify, both platforms there are this that showcase this podcast. And if you have any questions, I will also be leaving the links to Karen's groups on Facebook. You have Abundant Bakers. Is that correct? Am I saying the name?
yeah. I've got Abundant Bakers and Cakers.
Okay.
That's my Facebook free group. Yeah.
And you can get into the free group as well and get in touch with her. Now, tell us about what's coming up in the end.
Oh, my mad idea. Right. So
I love that idea.
Abundant Bakers and Cakers, when people were coming in, I asked them if they could give me their biggest problem or challenge that I had with cake decorating. So I deliberately didn't say with cake business, I just said with cake decorating. So currently now I'm sitting at probably, I think about 500 people all responded. The split is about 60% of them said it was a business challenge and 40% said it was a cake decorating craft challenge. But it was interesting that split has stayed exactly the same sort of
Mhm.
split. But a lot of people are saying I'm struggling with pricing. I'm fed up with making cakes at midnight and having customers not be particularly helpful pleased, or just grumpy customers, picky customers. There were so many things that they were saying to me, and I was walking one day and it was like, hang on a minute, so if everybody seems to be struggling with these same challenges, what could we do that negates those challenges? So I thought, hang on a minute, well, why couldn't we run cupcake parties, for not necessarily for people that already do baking, but I was thinking about relatives that I've got that have never put a cupcake in an oven ever or even baked a cake, right? But they love being social, right? So I thought, let's teach people how to run cupcake parties. So I started a membership called Cupcake Party HQ, which basically teaches the cake decorators. So they just need a little bit of knowledge of how to pipe cupcakes. Or if you think about all the things on Pinterest, of which I've got a massive board, there's so many lovely designs on Pinterest of you can do roly. Let's call it roly poly icing, and cut it out with a cutter and put some ears on it and make it into a rabbit. You could do cupcake parties with children,
Yeah.
you could do hen parties, etc., etc. So I thought if I could teach people how to, a price up their uh, hard costs of making cupcakes for a group of say 8 people, find a hostess who then invites her friends. So you've just got to find one really gregarious, outgoing hostess who would love to have her friends round for the night. You turn up with the kit, so it does mean that worst case scenario, or you might enjoy doing it, bake 6 cupcakes for each guest, or if you're short of time, go to a local supermarket and buy some naked cakes, but that's cheating. And if you wanted to get more people for your custom cakes, then obviously you baking them is a great idea, but you can always bake them and freeze them and take them out the freezer on the night of the party. So
Okay.
yes, obviously you've got to provide the buttercream, but to teach people how to a find the hostesses, b to find venues, how to talk to the venues, because you won't necessarily always be doing them in private houses. You could find a cafe with a Slack night. They're totally happy for you to come and use, 14 people to walk into their cafe and order a little bit of food and some drink off of the cafe owner. But how to market those parties to get a stream of people. And when I was working it out, if you charged a sensible fee for the ticket, which people are quite happy to do. I mean, London at the moment, you can go into London and buy 2 glasses of wine, and it's like £18. It's like, really, seriously,
Yeah.
so people are quite happy to do things at home and have an activity to do at home. And I've checked out with the 30-year-old people that I know in my world, which is my daughter-in-law and friends and all the rest of it. And they're all like, yeah, what a brilliant idea. That's, really good fun, because they're not necessarily decorators. They've never baked a cake in their life, but they would love to perhaps know how to make a theatrical cake, a
It goes
design.
beyond the cake decorating. Is a social event. You
Exactly.
share with your friends and you have a
Yeah.
nice time. You're gonna get cupcakes in return to bring home, and the
Yeah.
person making the cupcake party or organizing the cupcake party will be showcasing their work and promoting their business. It's awesome. I think it's
Yeah.
a great idea. It's
Yeah.
a great idea. And that will be like a course or
It's
more like a coaching platform.
it's a membership at the moment.
Okay.
I'm sort of considering, because I'm making all the content at the moment, because actually there's quite a lot of little elements to it, of like, oh well, okay, you've got to have a sign-in sheet, and what about if somebody phones up and says they want to order a day off you, what information have you got to take? So there's all sorts of stationery that I'm designing to go along with it. um, so at the moment, it's a membership, and the girls, my founder members, are working through the material that I'm putting out at the moment, and we're just about to start having cupcake parties.
Great.
So yeah, at the moment there's bits and bobs all going in there, but again, also got a success map of like 7 stages of a cupcake party business, because there's actually 3 ways that you could do a cupcake party. There's one, get a hostess who invites her friends. Two, you can go to a venue, and you local, restaurant, cafe, whatever,
Okay.
community centre. You might even be able to go to an old, not a dementia home, possibly, because it would be a bit too confusing, bless them, but maybe in, old people's homes, children's
Yeah.
parties. There's all sorts of.
Here in Portugal, we have what we call, it's like a day home. So older people just go there to spend the day,
Yeah.
read and have activities. So that will be a
Yeah.
great place.
you know
Exactly.
you know we're sort of working out what is the least messiest way to do things, which is quite good fun when you're talking to the founder members. It's like, how are we going to navigate sprinkles? If you had sprinkles with a load of 7-year-olds, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, you can just see them go woof all over the floor, and how
Yeah.
how could we like really make that neat and tidy and not not waste too much product. So yes, it's good fun putting it together. So the more the merrier. Coming into that in end of July, early August, it would be fabulous.
Oh, awesome.
Um,
Awesome.
yeah. And again, I'm thinking that I've got guest speakers that have been really good in the cake circle that would be really good to come in and maybe talk about branding. Oh, the other thing that I am going to do is to have ready-made graphics
Okay.
for for the girls, because a lot of them are like, well, that's all very well, but I don't know how to advertise it, and I can't use Canva. It's frightening, and I haven't got anything to put on social media, and I don't know what to say.
Okay. So you will
And what about my banners,
have,
and
wow,
you
awesome.
know,
Yeah.
swapping banners out in on a Facebook business page and stuff like that. If it was all done, or you can teach people how to put their own spin on it,
Yeah.
it saves them time and thinking about it, sort
It
of
is,
thing.
it's so cool and so helpful because not
Yes.
everybody knows how to do the graphic part. It's
Yeah.
true. Well, that is awesome. I think it's a brilliant idea. I think you should go further than cupcake parties and do other parties because it's an awesome idea. And sometimes the community, this our cake communities, our cake friends, they're just hungry for new ideas and new ways to promote their products, and I think
Yeah.
is a great, and it's a great comeback from 2 years being closed at home. So I think
Yes.
we need to
Yeah.
be social, we need to get out, and we need to meet people and see
Exactly.
each other.
Exactly.
So I think it's a great idea, and like I said before, I will be also leaving the link here in the description of the episode of the cupcake party. But remember, the cupcake party is going to be open for enrollment by the end of the month, at the end of July. So I recommend you to go into that link. Just check it out, but go into the link and more towards the end of the month, so you will find all the information that you need. And save that link because it's going to be a great membership. It's going to be a great thing to be part of. Excellent, Karen. Karen, I've been writing down a few things. I just want your opinion before we go because we don't want to make this episode too long for our listeners not to be bored. They won't, I'm sure, because we're taking a lot of good things and tips and hints from this episode. But there are a few things that I see the cake community do, like, for example, talk on social media, big words, social media posting, talk about their customers and their prices, making excuses like, I price for what I'm worth, or this customer did this and that. How do you feel about that?
I'm all for not putting negative out there into the universe, basically. um, and yes, whilst it's irritating sometimes, there's one particular group that I'm a part of, and that it ends up with this whole long thread of people going, "Well, you're absolutely right," and da-da-da-da.
Yeah,
You
that
just
usually
think,
happens.
yeah, that's what happens. Everybody joins on the bandwagon, and everybody goes, "Well, you should tell her this, and you should tell her that," and it's like, what's happening in your day is you're actually spending an awful lot of time thinking about the absolute negative
Yeah,
of one person who's done you wrong for whatever reason, and it's nothing to do with you and your cake decorating. It's more to do with the frame of mind that that person is in, and there's always going to be mean people. You as you put things up on social media, you're always going to get some clever clog somewhere
true.
tell you they think your thing is rubbish. And I had a coach once, because obviously, because I'm a coach, I've also got coaches that coach me. Otherwise,
Oh, very important. Note that, everyone. You pretend to be a coach, you
yeah,
need a coach.
you need a coach. Yes, you have to put your money where your mouth is. I do remember this coach saying once that now I've completely forgot what I was going to say.
Sorry, interrupted you. You were
What did
talking
you?
about the mind, the negativity that people put out there in their comments, and
Oh yeah.
always gonna bad comments
Oh
about.
yeah. He said, that's it. He said to me, if you haven't got the negative people popping up all over the place and shooting you down in flames, you're not marketing yourself enough.
Oh,
And I
that's
thought that,
yeah,
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 you're remaining too quiet. You haven't put your head above the parapet, as it were,
yeah,
because you need people to, either. say something rude about your email list, or say something rude about what you put on onto social media or whatever. Um, because if you haven't got anybody saying that, you're not actually getting your stuff out to enough people, because it comes with the territory
It comes.
of
It's true.
with the successful territory. You're always going to get people that are mean and jealous and want to put you down and want to make your day. I don't know why they do it, or whether they have fun doing it, or whether that makes their day because they've made somebody miserable, or they hope they've made somebody miserable. But yeah, my dear old mum, I'll just tell you this quick story. She was brilliant, actually, and she always had an answer, and she was always like, kill them with kindness. And I can remember telling her once that I was at work, and one of the girls from one of the other offices across the corridor had decided that she'd got this vendetta against me. And she said, oh, well, every time you see her, just have a really big smile and say hello, whatever her name was, Lynn or whatever her name was, with a big smile, because it will really, underneath, it will really irritate her, because she's trying to really make your day awful.
Yeah.
And every time I saw this girl, I'd go, hello, Lynn, big smile on my face, even though she like tried to turn all of the other secretaries, all the, I don't even know what my heinous crime was, to be honest. Anyway, she gave up in the end, because she's like, obviously this girl's so thick skinned, I'm not getting through to her. So
Yeah.
she just gave up and went away. And it's like, okay, just kill them with kindness. My mum was right.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Everybody should note them down, please, because yeah, it's true. It's true. And I always think when people have that bad comments, or they're mean on social media, they're not being mean to you. They're being mean to part of them that they see in you.
Mm,
It's
mm,
something that they haven't been okay with themselves, and they just have to put it out there. So
yeah,
just move on and go to the
yeah.
focus on the
Next.
positive. And that, with in that note, I'm going to go into the other thing that I wrote down. You mentioned here, and I believe is so important. Actually, it is in the motto, in the slogan of this podcast, is helping cake artists with their mindset.
Mm,
How important is to have the right mindset to be successful?
very.
Mhm.
100%, 100%. If you saw my bookshelf here,
Mhm.
I got into personal
Mhm.
development many, many years ago when I was very young. It's probably just as well, because I ended up breaking up with my husband, who was an alcoholic. So I ended up having to like negotiate having two small children myself and remain sane. So the only thing that I could do was actually dive into personal development,
Okay.
which I did, big time. And it's like, can I be mum and dad and stay positive and not end up with my children being, oh well, I behave like this because I came from a single parent broken home scenario. And having a positive mindset, not only for running a business, is really important across all walks of life. It's what carried me through the pandemic, for instance, where people were all sort of falling apart, going, "Oh, I can't cope," and my goodness, and all the rest of it. It's like, okay, right, we just have to knuckle down and get on with it, and make it made us very grateful for the things that then did return. And it was like, oh my goodness, we did take for granted being able to just pop out to the local wine bar or the local restaurant and see our friends, and my children could come and visit me. And it's like, okay, well, maybe this is a lesson from the universe to be a bit more grateful.
There you go. It's only a matter of perspective, right?
Yeah,
Only a matter of
absolutely,
And the universe
absolutely.
does pay that. We're getting into the woo woo thing, but
Oh yes,
the universe does.
that's another episode,
It
Christina.
does. It does. Because I mean, when you put out beautiful things out there, beautiful things come back. Uh,
Absolutely.
and it's very important. And at the end of the day, I believe we are our business.
Mm,
We as person, I mean, my business is me, is a reflection of everything that I am. So if I'm in the right mindset, if I'm positive, and if I'm a happy person, and if I put happiness out there, my customers are going to be happy, my cakes are going to be beautiful, and everybody's going to be having a great time.
Mm.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's I believe in it, and I
Yeah.
know you do, and I wanted your input on that as well. And Karen does that in the cake circle as well. She also covers the importance of the correct mindset in
Hmm.
businesses and in your life, like we do in the Arcade Coach, either the group in Facebook or here in the podcast. So, in that note, I want to thank you so much for being sharing your knowledge with us today. If you have to take something, people, if you're listening, you have to take something away from this episode. Please price your time, earn per hour, have price your work not only based on the ingredients that you use, have a good customer service relation, because you need that in order for your customers to come back. And having the correct mindset is key in order to succeed in anything in life. But of course, we're talking about cake business, so we're going to keep talking about the cake business. And if you need any help, any further help with your pricing your cakes, making a business plan, and organizing your cake business as a business, not just, oh, I'm a mom baking cakes on my kitchen, but you're here for the long run and you want to create a stable business, you have Karen and the Cake Circle to help you. And I'll be leaving the links for all of that here. Thank you so much, Karen, for sharing with us.
And thank you for
I'm
inviting me.
sending you a big kiss from all of us here. Anything you want to say goodbye to our friends?
There was one thing else when you did your resume.
Yeah.
The other thing I would just add is be flexible.
Oh, good.
And when I mean be flexible, is that when you present your cake price to somebody and they go, ooh, and they're sucking of teeth and they go, ooh, that's too expensive, or maybe it's too large or whatever because you haven't done your portions right. Always have a version B up your sleeve,
Awesome.
because if somebody says I can't afford whatever it is that you've just presented to them, but you say, okay, well, I've got a simplified version of that, and here it is, and this is it. Having it already their price, which if you've already priced everything out properly in the first place, is quite easy then to strip off some elements of it
Yeah.
in time to go, actually, I can make it look similar to this, but it can be cheaper if price is the issue. So always be flexible and have a version B up your sleeve.
Awesome idea. And the customer will feel like you're really thinking about me. So
Yeah,
that's great. That's awesome.
yeah,
Great,
that's
great.
it.
Little tip from Karen. Well, guys, I don't want to make this episode any longer, but I'm sure you have been very entertained and you have learned a lot today. Thank you to everyone for listening today. I really hope to see you, or to not to see you, but I really hope that you're here on the next episode of the Arcade podcast, the Arcade Coach podcast. And I will say goodbye, as I always say, to everyone here in the community. Stay safe and stay creative. Thank you, Karen. Thank you so much for being here. And I will see you guys next episode. Bye bye.
Bye.